Hi, this is Ali Arango of ArangoDigitalProduction.com, and today I want to show you my version of how to make a human head and neck inside of Blender. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing you want to do is go to front view. Once you're in front view, make sure you're selected on your cube. Go into edit mode. Once you're in edit mode, hit W to go into your specials menu. And in the specials menu, you want to select subdivide smooth. Click here. Once you click subdivide smooth, you'll see you have you can kind of imagine already this turning into the head shape that it's going to basically be. Hit your T key to bring up your left mesh tool menu. And then here you'll see a part that says subdivide and the number of cuts. You want to take this number of cuts up to 3. Once you have this up to 3, I'm going to hit T again just to take that away so you can still see your the keys that I'm using over here. Make sure you're on vertex select, and you're going to select this vertex right here. Go to side view. You're going to hit O to activate your proportional edit tool. When you hit the O and activate that proportional edit, you'll see this blue circle pop up here to let you know that it's on. Then what you're going to do is hit G. Once you hit G when you're using a proportional edit, what it'll do is it will allow you to see this circle pop up. What that circle represents your area of influence for the proportional edit. So hit G and then you're going to roll your mouse wheel. So about here. All right, you're then going to pull down, and this is basically giving you the chin of the head. You're now going to turn to the back of the head. One of the things as we're going through this tutorial in creating a head and a neck, most of the time you're going to notice that we're going to be selecting the same number of faces over and over again, and those faces will tend to be 4. So there's something to keep in mind as we continue to work. So with your proportional edit still on, you're going to select these 8 faces, in the back of the head to make sure you're on face select. Hold shift and select these 8 faces. Now I'm just holding my middle mouse, turning to the side, just so I can get a view of the side of the head, so I can see how much I'm pulling this head out. So now I'm going to hit G and then Y just to pull straight back. All right. Okay, once you pull this back, make sure that you do this. Hit O again to turn off your proportional edit tool. And one of the reasons why you want to turn that off before we pull the neck out is because in a minute we're going to apply the mirror modifier, and sometimes when you use the proportional edit tool and you pull something down close to the center of a mesh that you're going to split, it causes problems. So long story short, just turn it off before we do this part. All right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to select 8 faces on the bottom of the head. So there's that 8 again. Turn so you can see, get a good view of how you're going to extrude the neck out. Then you're going to hit E to extrude, and you're going to take your neck to about there. Manipulate your head using your middle mouse button, and now I'm just going to scale on the X-axis to stretch out the neck. I'm going to scale turn it to the side so you can see the side. And one of the things when you're working in 3D is you'll find that you're constantly going to be turning to the front and turning to the side, and pretty much whenever you're working in 3D, if you're a beginner, that's just how it goes. When I first came into designing in 3D, I struggled because I was somebody who mainly drew, and at first it was very hard for me not to just work on the front view, and then once I was pleased with that, then go to a side view. Pretty much what you've got to do is look to the front, the side, the back, the top, but mainly the front and the side. But anyway, what you can still see that the bottom 8 faces that we selected are still selected. Now what you're going to do is scale on the Y-axis. All right, so you got this nice cobra looking neck thing. All right, this next command, this is probably, again, if you're new to Blender, this is probably one of the commands that you will use constantly in Blender, and what that is Control R, and that is your loop cut tool. And you'll see that once you move your mouse over where you want the loop cut tool to go to put a loop cut, it will kind of adjust. So if I move it up. You see how it adjusted to the head. Now I move it to the neck where I want it. Once I have it where I want it, what did you want to do is you want to roll your mouse wheel. And that's exactly what you want, is 2 loop cuts. So once you have it, you want to, in my case, left click. It's controversial in Blender, but in my case, left click to select. Then what you want to do is scale on the x-axis. You're going to turn to the side, and then you're going to scale on the y-axis. So now you've got your basic head and neck shape. Now what you're going to do is you are going to grab, again, 8 faces to the front. And basically what we're doing here, these 8 faces that we're grabbing are actually going to be the mouth of this head. And one of the reasons why I create a head like this is because not only will your model look good from doing it, you're able to make it look well, but it's also set up so it's ready to go if you want to animate this model. So what you're going to do, once you have these 8 faces selected, is you're going to scale on the z-axis, about like that. And then what I'm going to do now is just select, go to my vertex select, and just adjust some of these vertices here. And we don't have mirror mode on, so as I'm selecting the vertices, when I want 2 vertices to move the same, I'm selecting them both and pulling them both. In a moment, though, you won't have to worry about that because we're going to apply the mirror mode. Okay, what you're going to do now is now that you've adjusted your 8 faces here, what you're going to do is select these 8 faces again. Turn to the side, you can see now you're going to hit E to extrude and then Y. Bring it out just a little bit. I learned this method from David Ward, partially, who is a spectacular Blender teacher. But anyway, you're going to, after you extrude, you're going to scale down. Once you have it to about here, you're then going to scale on the z-axis. I'm going to scale a little bit on the x-axis. I'm just going to take my manipulator here, just push down, zoom in so I can see a little bit better. I'm going to go to my vertice, select, and I'm just going to grab these just so I can reshape what's going to be the mouth a little bit more. Okay. Now what you want to do is go to front view. Once you're in front view, you want to go hit 5 on your number pad panel to go into orthographic mode. And orthographic mode is probably the best mode to be in once you're about to apply a mirror modifier like we're about to do. You want to hit your Z key, and what this is going to allow you to do is select the front and the back of this mesh. And what we're going to do is cut this mesh in half. So go to your face select, use the B key, and you're going to grab right to the center line a little bit past. Whoops. Let's do that again. Right to your center line, just a slight bit past. And there you go. I have half the head selected. You're going to hit X to go to your delete menu. Hit faces to delete. You're going to come over here to your modifier panel, that little wrench right here. And you're then going to click mirror. You're then, after you click mirror, you're going to come over to your modifier panel, click clipping, and then you're going to select this symbol right here, which will allow the mirror modifier to look like it's fully applied to the model, even though it isn't. Hit Z again to bring back your model so you can see it without it being transparent. Now what you're going to do is you're going to grab these. You see it's almost constantly 8 faces, but now you can see when I click here, because of the mirror modifier, it also grabs on the other side. I'm just zooming in so I can see the mouth a little bit better. Now what I'm going to do is E to extrude, and then I'm going to hit Y to extrude in just a little. I'm left clicking, in my case anyway, to lock it in. Now I'm going to hit E to extrude again, and then Y. Now I'm going to scale up just a little bit and then I'm going to push back again to get the mouth area. So now we basically have the open mouth and the mouth there. Now this next part, and these next parts are going to pretty much make up. It's going to set you up for making your nose, your eyes, and everything else. So again, that loop cut, you're going to hit Control R, and you're going to roll your mouse till you have 3 loop cuts. You're going to click to lock the loop cuts in. And one of the things when you're working with, again, my version of doing the face, there's many different ways of doing it. This is my particular way, and I developed this from watching, again, David Ward, who's excellent, a bunch of his tutorials, and also Jonathan Williamson of Blender Cookie. But the way I would describe this right here is, as you're doing this, because what we're basically going to do now is you're going to make sure you're on your vertice select or vertex select, and what you're going to do is you're going to pull the vertices into forming a nose. And basically, when you look at this, the way I would describe it to you is, if you're watching this tutorial, you're probably somewhat artistic. When you look into the clouds and you kind of see shapes in clouds, there's times I used to look at the carpet, and I would actually see shapes in the of animals and stuff in the carpet. It's kind of like this here. You want to kind of look into this face, look at the vertices or vertexes, and you want to kind of see the nose. When I look at this, I'm like, okay, here's the mouth. This is going to be the part under the nose right here. This is actually going to be the bridge of the nose, and these are going to be the nostrils. So then I'm going to just start pulling that vision in. So you're on your vertex select, and now I'm just pulling it in to form that nose shape that I see. And one of the things as you're working in 3D is you pretty much are, the main thing of 3D is that you are pushing and pulling vertices. When I first started learning 3D, I learned it in school, 3ds Max. And I remember the 3ds Max was talking about modifiers. And that book annoyed the heck out of me because, again, the main thing of 3D is you're pulling and pushing vertices or vertexes. Okay, so now you see basically we have the basic shape of the nose here. If you're trying to select vertices and this manipulator gets in your way, if you hit Control Space, very useful command, it'll take that manipulator away, hit Control Space, and it'll come back again. So again, right here, we're just basically forming up the nose. Now what you're going to do is you are going to grab the vertices that make up the nose, and you're just going to push them down a little bit. And again, just like that thing I described to you about looking in a cloud. So here's the nose right here. Here's the mouth. The eye is actually going to be right here. And what you're going to do, again, you're just thinking about the nose right now. Now you're going to select the nose. You can kind of see with it, with the faces, I've make sure you're in face select. With the faces I've grabbed there, how this nose is actually going to work itself out. Now what you're going to do is hit E to extrude, and then Y to extrude on the Y axis. So you bring the nose out just a little bit. All right, go back to your no, don't go back, stay in your face select. You're going to select right here these two faces, and you're going to pull, and this is just making your nose come out a little bit more prominently. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the top of the nose, grab these vertices, and just use your manipulator and push this in a little bit. And I know this looks ugly and funky and all that right now, but once we put the subdivision surface modifier on it, it'll look a lot better. So you have your basic nose right there. We're still going to do some more work on here, but this area right here, again, remember what I told you about kind of like looking into the clouds or looking into just random shapes and seeing things. This is basically where your eyes are going to be. So you're going to grab this vertice right here, and what you want to do is just put this in the center and just imagine this to be a plate. All right, but for now we're going to come back to the nose. All right, with the nose, what you're going to want to do is go to your edge select, click right here, pull down just a little bit, All right, now what you're going to want to do is you're going to we're in a mirror modifier. All right, this clipping makes it so that if you pull an edge, normally with clipping on in your mirror modifier, when you pull an edge, the edge doesn't split apart from itself. It'll keep it together. In this case, we want this edge to be split so we can form the nostril. So you're going to turn off your clipping. You're going to go to your face select, and you're going to select these nostrils right here. Now what you're going to do is hit E to extrude, and sometimes when you're hitting E to extrude, you're just clicking it to create more geometry for you to work with. So you want to click and don't do anything. All right, so you're just going to, in my case, left click to lock it in, then you're going to scale down, and then you can see your nostrils there. And sometimes if things aren't lining up right, like this is a little bit too close to this edge for me, when you have faces selected, you can just use your manipulator and just pull them to where you want them to be. All right. Now we're going to turn on the clipping. You don't want to forget about that because it'll cause you problems later. Now what you're going to do is hit E to extrude on the Z axis and just go up into the nose. And once you're up into the nose, not too much so it doesn't come out the other side, you're going to scale in on the nostril. And now you can see our nose is beginning to shape. All right, now once you have that, what you're going to do is you are going to select these two faces right here. E to extrude on the Y axis. Then you're going to scale down. It's just giving you a bulbous part of the nose, I believe David Ward said. But this nose, I like this the way the nose comes out, and you'll see once we turn on the subdivision surface. But anyway, now we're going to move on to the eyes, and what you're going to do is select these faces right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to E, not to pull in or push out in this thing. You're hitting E just to create new geometry. You're going to left click in my case, and then scale down. And now it's like, starting to, now I can see this weird thing why he set it up this way. So there's the eyes kind of forming right there. Then once you have this, you can see my manipulator is getting in the way here. And one of the things in Blender, when this happens, you just hit Control Space, lock that into your mind because it'll help you out a lot, and then Control Space to bring it right back. And yeah, I'm just, you can set up your eye however you want it. I'm just doing a few adjustments on it. Okay, now you can kind of see the face forming now. Now what you're going to do is grab your face select again. Select again. Here we go again. Remember, it tends to be 4 and 8, 4 and 8. So now you're going to extrude in on the Y-axis just a little bit. Then you're going to hit X, delete faces. All right. So now we've got our basic eyes here. We've got our nose. We've got our mouth. And now you can see it kind of forming that head that I talked about. What you're going to do now is, or again, my version, there's many different ways of doing it. Just my particular version that you're watching here. We're going to grab this area here, this vertex, and we're going to pull down, and this is basically going to be our brow area. Not this, right over here. And then once you have that kind of, again, that's how I like to describe it. You heard me say before in this tutorial, just as you're working with your 3D models, again, it's like kind of like, being a kid looking into the clouds. Like, what can I see? When I see this, I can say, okay, here it kind of looks like a brow, kind of has like that art. So what you're going to do is select these two faces here. It's one of the few times we've actually gone away from 4 or 8. Now you're going to extrude. In my case, and you can let it extrude on its own. I'm extruding on the Y-axis again. Then I'm scaling down. You don't want your edges to cross, so I'm just going to push up. That might have been just an illusion there. Pull it over so there's no edges crossing. So now we have our basic brow area. So we've got a brow, our eyes, our mouth, and our nose. And one of the cool things about this with these lines, this model as it's coming along, this head model is going to be set up to be easily animatable because of the edge loops and the places of the things on there. As a matter of fact, one of the things we can do with the eyes is you're going to put your cursor right over this eye area here and then hit Control R and then roll it up twice. And again, just for the eye area as we come back to work upon that. Right here, I'm going to say it again. Yes, it might be getting annoying, but I'm going to say it because it would have helped me. Again, you're kind of looking, it's like looking into the clouds, seeing animals in the clouds. When I look here, I'm like, okay, this kind of would be around where the ear's at. So what you want to do is grab your face select, and you're going to be selecting 6 faces here. All right, what you're going to do, again, you're hitting E not to pull or push yet. You're hitting E to create new geometry, clicking to lock it in. Then you're going to scale down. Now you're going to scale on the Y axis, and basically we're forming a rough ear here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hit E to extrude, X on the to come out on the X axis. And then I'm going to hit scale on the Y just to make that a little bit thinner. It's kind of wide there, so I'll just push it in and adjust it, and I'm going to scale on the Z axis. All right, so you have your basic ear there. You're going to turn to the back of the ear because the ear kind of like doesn't just come out to the side. You're going to grab these 4. Remember, again, when you're working with this model, the way I tend to model things, a lot of times it's going to be 4 and 8. So you're grabbing these 4 vertices here, and then you're just going to push in. If you're using your manipulator, green manipulator, which should be your Y axis, just to push that ear a little bit in. Now what you're going to do is you're going to select, in this case, 3, and you're going to hit E to create new geometry, select, scale in, and then while this is selected, while that's selected, you're going to use your manipulator, push your in on the X or red axis right there. Now you're going to hit E to extrude, and then Y to take this ear. Whoops. Wait a second. Wait a second. I think I just okay. Wait a second. There we go. A little mishap there. You're going to hit E to extrude, and then Y to go in. Left click, so now you have your basic ear. And one of the awesome things about Blender is, you have this rough shape here, and once you get a basic shape, it's amazing how you can go into sculpt mode and really play with it once you've got the basic shape done. So now we have the basic mouth. We're going to bring that mouth in a little bit, and there's multiple ways to select this. So I'm going to show you here. You're going to select the inside of the mouth here, and what you're going to do is just select these faces in the mouth, and then you're going to scale on the Z axis just to bring that mouth in a little bit. All right, once you have that, go to your vertexes, and this is something I've always struggled with a little bit. You're going to pull down these vertices right here, and this is just to get the lips ready to be formed. Pull up here. Now what you're going to do is go and select these faces again. Then you're going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis, come out just a little bit, and then you're going to scale down, just hitting S to scale. I tend to bring it out a little bit more there. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hit Control R for your loop cut, and then you're going to roll about till you get about 3 loop cuts right there. All right, now you're going to turn your proportional edit tool on, go to your vertex select. We're just going to pull this chin forward just a little bit. And then what we're going to do is go to this eye up here, this eye area. This is totally flat here. And you're going to grab these vertices here, hit G, and that white circle again, that's my proportional area edit tool. That's my the area that I'm going to influence. And I'm hitting Y. And what I'm doing this for is I'm just doing this for, so just imagine the side view of a face so you can see the side. All right, now is where it starts to get kind of cool, because you see this nice blocky kind of almost Transformers looking thing here. Now what we're going to do is come back over to our modifier panel. And you're going to hit subdivision surface. I love that when you come over here and you go from the ugliness of the crude model and to your subdivision surface, and it's just like, it's magical. But anyway, you come up to your subdivisions, you see your views, you're going to change this to 2. You're then going to go to your apply modifier button here to click there, and now you can see the face looks a lot more together. You know, it's just amazing and beautiful. You know, I don't know, just a cool part when you get to that point. All right, so you're going to hit your T key to bring out your left side menu, your mesh tools menu. You're going to hit A to select all, and then you're going to go to shading, hit smooth, and now you can kind of see it's kind of funky, but we've came this far, people. We've come from a square to this. One of the things that's cool, when I'm working on head, it doesn't quite look right to me seeing this thing without eyes. So just very quickly, I want to show you how to do this. Well, I'll show you that in a second. Yeah, I'll show it to you now. Okay, so that this thing doesn't, you know, just look like this soulless thing here. It helps to have the eyes, and I wish I had known this when I first started. I mean, you can make eyes much more realistic than I'm going to show you now, and you can actually replace this later. I just want to show you something. To me, it just helps me in working with a character that I'm creating, having the eyes there. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit Tab, go out of object mode. You're then going to, in my case, I am one of the guys who, when I started off Blender, I set it to left select because I was used to Adobe and all the Adobe programs. So in my case, I'm going to hit right select because my main select is left, meaning right select to put the 3D cursor here. And now remember what I told you about being in 3D, how you have to move around. So here's the front. It looks right in the front view, right? Now watch this in the second view. All right, this 3D cursor, when you bring an object in, the object will come to here. All right, so from the front, you see that? It looks right, but from the side, it's all the way back there. So what you have to do is click again for the side, and now go back to the front. And now as you go from that front to side, you'll see, okay, now you can see that is where my object is going to come in. So now what you're going to do is hit Shift A. You're going to go to UV sphere. Just like when we first started off with the cube, you were going to go over to your, mesh tools menu, and you're going to see this thing that says segments. Click 12 instead of 32, and then where it says 16, select 12 again. Okay, now that when you have that, what you're going to do is hit T to go into the edit mode for the eye. You're going to hit R. And then X. Wait a second. R, X, then 9O. And basically what this is going to do is, matter of fact, turn off this proportional edit tool right here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hit S to scale. And you have your basic eye here. And I really don't want to get all into textures and materials with you, but I don't know. I think this helps out when you're working on a character, particularly a face. What you're going to do is you're going to come to your modifier panel. You're then going to hit subdivision surface, just like we did on the head a while back. Hit T to bring up your mesh tools menu, and then you're going to hit S for smooth. Now what you're going to do, and just remember this, and we'll finish off this head tutorial. Make sure you're in edit mode. What you're going to do is you're going to go over here to your materials button, click here, click new material. This diffuse sets the color of whatever materials you're getting into. You're going to click this, click it up to make it white. You're now going to hit A to deselect that eye part right there. But you're also going to, on your number pad keyboard, right above your 8, there's a, what is that, backward slash. You're going to hit that, and that's going to take you into local mode. And what this is this is your eye, just your eye. So your head is still there, but it just, local mode pretty much allows you to focus on one part of the model. All right, what you're going to do is make sure you are in face mode. You're then going to select this area of the eye right here, these faces. Now you're going to come to your materials menu, not this plus, and this is kind of confusing. Not the plus right here, the right plus, you're going to select that. Then you're going to select new. And this is basically going to be the color of your iris. So let's give them green eyes. All right. Now once you have that, you're going to go to this assign button, select assign. All right. Now what you're going to do that you have that is you're going to have your face select. You're going to hold shift. This is going to be the dark part of the eye. Now you're going to go back over here again to the right plus, not the downward plus, the right plus in your materials. Hit the plus again, new, diffuse for the color. You can just drag down to get a nice dark color for the iris. Then you're going to hit assign. All right, so now we have a basic eye there. Now what you're going to do is hit, again, you're in that number pad. All the way over to the right of your keyboard, above your 8, you're going to hit that backslash. So there's your eye right there, all right? Now what you're going to do, maybe I shouldn't have showed you the eyes, but again, this is something I would have wanted somebody to show me when I first was learning. You're going to hit Shift-C, and what Shift-C is going to do is it's going to make your cursor move to the exact center of your model. You're then going to click on that eye. You're going to come down here, and what this is a pivot point for a 3D cursor. And just remember it without getting all into it. You're going to come down here, you're going to click, you're going to go to this little cross, looks like a target symbol. It says 3D cursor, you're going to click that. What that's going to do is make this eye, things are going to pivot off of this 3D cursor. So you're going to make sure you have the eye selected. Then you're going to hit Shift-D for the eye, so you have a duplicate eye. When I hit right click, the way my mouse setup is, remember I have it set up so left is my main select. I'm going to hit right click, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to that newly created eye is selected. I'm going to hit S X -1 and then left click. So now I have another eye perfectly in the center of the other eye. Okay. I just think it helps having eyes. But anyway, now that we're in there, you're going to click on your main model. You're going to come into actually sculpt mode. And then this sculpt mode, it is amazing what you can do. And pretty much I've achieved what I wanted to show you. I wanted to, my main point of this tutorial was I wanted to show you how to basically get into sculpt mode. What sculpt mode is, it is just a part of Blender where you can very easily manipulate your mesh. Once you're into sculpt mode, a few things to help you out in dealing with this mesh. If you click on your object data button, come down to where it says display, and you want to choose wire. All right, now you'll see all these meshes, which is all these faces, which is hard to deal with. You're then going to go back over to your modifier, and then you're going to go down to your subdivision surface area, and you're going to click optimal display. And this will help you as far as adjusting your model. But pretty much what you want to do here is you just want to push and pull to adjust this face to your liking. You did the hard work. You have the basic shape in there. And the main things you would want to use if you're just starting off, there's a lot of tools to use. The main thing is your grab and your smooth. Mainly your grab is pretty much what you're using. So some of the things I can do, you can, if you think the nose is too big, you can just grab and you say, because you're a mirror, as you pull the nose, you can make it wide or you can make it thin. The eye sockets, I mean, you can push and manipulate the eye, the area around the eyes. The mouth, you can make it bigger. You can make the mouth down, move down. This area of influence that I have here, very similar to your proportional edit. When I hit F, when I push and pull now, rather than rolling the mouse wheel, it allows me to adjust the area of influence. And pretty much, again, in this sculpt mode, I mean, you really can just play in here and you know, just do a lot of fine adjustments and really, I would recommend that you do a lot of your adjustments in scope mode. And this is when you really can go to work and try to make your model look more proportional and everything set up real. So people, thank you for watching my tutorial and listening to me ramble on. I'm happy to see that you guys are out there and using Blender. I mean, Blender, just an unbelievable program, especially for the fact that you can, anyone who wants to get involved in 3D modeling can download this program and get to work. And my gosh, the wonders and amazing things you can do. So here is my version of a human head. The people that inspired me, again, largely David Ward, who has a YouTube channel, and he is just absolutely spectacular when it comes to designing characters. Also Jonathan Williamson of Blender Cookie, or some other people you guys could look up to see some more. But thank you for watching this tutorial. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and have a good day, guys. Thanks.